Hello Gemini, welcome to Aries Moon Arcana. I apologize for my absence lately. If you're more interested in hearing about why that is, I have an introductory video to this series playlist in the playlist, so you can check that out. Also in that description or intro, I'm going to be explaining kind of what Mercury Retrograde means, since that's what this video is going to be all about. I have my own personal take. A lot of people say not to travel or buy equipment, you know, electronics go awry. I don't really feel like that. I don't ever let astrology or tarot tell me to put my life on hold. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do when I'm gonna do it. So I don't really live by those rules, and it's never been a problem for me in the past. So I look at it more like a time of kind of rethinking things, revisiting things. That's typically more so what it's about for me. So a little bit more of a positive spin on it, I think, which I prefer. So if you want to know more about that intro video. Otherwise, I'm going to just get right into it. So I pulled an oracle card for this reading for you guys, and I came up with the Page of Cups reversed. And one of the classic themes of Mercury retrograde is, you guessed it, the ex coming back, knocking on your door, or you being the ex and you wanting to reach out to that person also. So that's the energy here. Page of Cups is like the offering of emotions, but it's reversed. So it looks more like it's a step backward, not necessarily a step forward. So if the ex is coming back, or if you are the one coming back or wanting to communicate with that person, I wouldn't put too much weight on it or like think that it's gonna yield anything powerful or important. Just because they're coming back doesn't mean they're gonna give you that apology, or the other way around. So it's not necessarily like, oh, don't worry, he's coming back or she's coming back. It's more like, all right, well, here we go, huh? Here we go again. So yeah, that's kind of the energy that I'm getting, but we'll look into the cards and see if it corroborates. So yeah, let's just get right into it, shall we? I'm gonna take you on down to Flavor Town. Just kidding, more like Booby Town. Look at this. I just bought a new sports bra because that's what I'm comfortable wearing randomly because I walk all day, and this is just, I apologize, or you're welcome. However you want to look at it. All right, so let's get right into it. All right, Gemini. We are looking at Mercury retrograde, what you can expect for that, June 18th through July 12th, I believe. I got the Page of Cups reversed. I'm feeling like there's some X energy. I'm not feeling like there's much action about it, though. It may be just like a thought, maybe even just a fleeting thought, or something that's kind of gnawing at you, like around this time. So, you know, we'll see if maybe it's a good idea or a bad idea. I mean, I typically don't think it yields very much results unless it's clear that you're both just still in love with each other and, like, you know, there's some serious unfinished business. It usually doesn't yield anything positive, so, but you know, that maybe that's just me projecting. So let's ignore me and let's just focus on the cards. Let's do it that way. So let's see, what can Gemini hear from us? What does Gemini need to hear about this Mercury retro? There's that Knight of Cups reversed, Six of Swords, Judgment reversed, and the Five of Cups. I'm gonna pull one more, and the Eight of Cups. Well, it doesn't matter who is what or who is doing what here. You're both moving on. Knight of Cups reversed is, you know, the other card that means an emotional offering. Quite specifically, the Knight of Cups is usually a love offering. Somebody coming in hot, or, you know, sweeping you off your feet kind of energy, but he's reversed. So even if there is some sort of like love energy going on, there's a lot of moving on energy here. Six of Swords. So, and then of course we get the Eight of Cups to clinch it right at the very end, the other moving on card, and they're both upright. So it is very possible that you think the other person has fully, completely moved on. And you're concerned about reaching out because you're worried that you'll be rejected, or, you know, it's not going to go well or get you what you want. Or you've moved on completely, and there's still something about it that you want to, like, maybe you want to clear the air or something, because there's judgment reversed here. There's like a karmic like issue here that has not been resolved. Something is unresolved. It could have been months that you haven't been talking. It could have been just a few days, maybe even years, but something is still unsaid. There's just still some information here that hasn't cleared the energy. Neither of you are karmically through this yet. It's not karmically finished. And I think both of you feel that way, and both of you want it to end, and you want the karma to be regained and everybody happy and okay. But there's like still some really hurt feelings about this. There's like some painful, this was, you know, this is the X. I swear to God, this is such an X spread. It's out of control. It's painful. You guys both went through a lot of pain. And, you know, either they want to come back talking to you, but everything's reversed. So there's this fear stopping them or stopping you from reaching out, because it's very clear that there's such a moving on energy here, and but that's like, it's almost like, then what? Like you're getting to the point where you're thinking, if it is you that's wanting to reach out and you're thinking, oh, well, I'm trying to move on, or they've moved on already. You're stuck there. You're not seeing like beyond it. Like, what does moving on mean? It means forgiveness. It means happiness. It doesn't mean fucking somebody else so that you aren't allowed to talk anymore. That's the most juvenile thing in the world. It means moving beyond that point and discovering a new thing about yourself and taking with you the experiences that you had and like turning it into something positive. And it's about forgiveness. And I don't know that people are there yet. So you're like stuck at this point, or somebody is stuck at this point where they're like, oh, they're just moving on. But that's like not a very mature way of looking at it, because I don't know, there's just something about it here that just feels like there's a little bit of stuck in the feelings and like feeling blocked off, but it's like a self-made block. Like it's like talking yourself out of doing something that could very well correct some karma here, because there's some imbalance in the karmic universe. Somebody hurt somebody bad and it hasn't been corrected. So, you know, I feel like that's keeping someone, again, very easily I could be talking to the cross-watcher. Something's keeping you from looking at this almost like maturely. There's like a little too much like I've moved on, and it doesn't feel like moved on and over it, so like happy now. It feels like repeating over and over and over to yourself, I've moved on, they've moved on, I've moved on, they've moved on. Like it feels a little repetitive and it feels a little insincere and immature. So if that's you, look into what it is. I want you to look into what it is. What is it? Why? What does moving on mean to you that you're projecting onto that other person having moved on, if that's what you think has happened? You know, or some of you are watching an ex, you know, dating another person and have to kind of go through that pain. And so you're trying to convince yourself that you're moved on, I'm moving on, I've already moved on, I have this new girlfriend, I have this new boyfriend, I'm moving on. But there's something insincere here. So let's get into it. I want to get into the details because that's what's going to give us more insight. So Gemini needs to know about this situation with the ex, this like convincing themselves or yourself that you've moved on or that the other person has moved on, so as to keep you in inaction. Because you're afraid of something. I don't know what or why or who. I mean, if it's really that over, who cares anyway, right? But let's just see what we get. Ooh, that doesn't count as one of my cards. All right, Gemini, Mercury retrograde. What can Gemini expect? Clarifying this Knight of Cups reversed. 2 of Swords, 5 of Swords, 10 of Wands reversed. Whoever this is that is thinking about reaching out, because it's one of you, you can bet if it's not you right now as you're watching this, like if the thought in your mind hasn't occurred to just like, even for a second, like maybe I should just text, maybe I should just call, maybe I should try to have coffee and just clear the air. If that's not you, if you haven't even had that thought for a second, then it's definitely the other person. Because whoever it is that's not, that is thinking about reaching out but not actually doing it, they're sitting on the fence about this a lot. Like it's like a thought that has gone back and forth. No decision. This is what I'm saying about the inaction. This bitch is not making a fucking decision. Also, that person is like, was the one that maybe did the shitty things, like the painful stuff that created this karmic imbalance. This person feels like they got away with something, and they did. Could be you, Gem. Got away with something, and now they don't want to, I don't know, they don't want to open up the lines of communication because something about this breakup and how long it's been or whatever has been really, like, it's taken the stress off of them. Like they're feeling a lot more relaxed now. Again, it could be you. You could be feeling much more relaxed now. And so you're like, I would like to reach out to this person, but I know they're going to be really mad at me for whatever the fuck I did. But it's so relaxing to not have to like take that responsibility on. There's somebody hiding from taking responsibility, and really taking ownership of the battle that they cheated at. They cheated. Somebody did something lying, not good. And they're not, and they feel relieved that they don't have to own up to it anymore. And so that person is not sure about reaching out because they feel pretty confident that until you move on or until the other person moves on, they're still going to be mad. But I don't think moving on works like that. That's why I was saying it's kind of, I think you should like reassess how you look at what moving on means, because a lot of the time when somebody does something shitty to somebody and then they're like, they want the other person to get over it and move on, they think that forgiveness is the answer, because once you forgive me, then things can go back to normal. But the person having been hurt is like, are you fucking kidding me? Nothing should go back to normal, because normal, as far as I'm concerned now, has changed entirely, because normal was the circumstance under which you fucked me over before. So I don't want things to go back to normal. I don't want to forgive you and then have everything be fine so that you think you can just do that shit again. So there's some, I don't know, some like heavy angsty energy going on here. Six of Swords. Moving on. So either the Knight of Cups energy wants to come in but isn't sure about it because they don't want to take ownership. They don't want to feel the responsibility. Either they are convincing themselves that they're moving on, or they are convincing themselves that you've moved on. So in either way, but I don't, like I said, it doesn't feel sincere. And I'm saying, again, if you're like, what? I'm totally moved on. I'm totally moving on. This is what I mean. Look at what you think moving on means, because it doesn't mean one day that person's gonna just embrace you and be like, I'm over it, I've moved on, now we can like start being friends again or whatever. Like, that's not what it's about. It's about everybody's heart being back to feeling lovable again, you know? It's not about whether or not that person forgives you. That's not what moving on and really is, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So let's clarify this and get more info. Eight of Swords. There's that Six of Swords, but reversed. And the Star reversed. I'm telling you, this is not sincere. Whoever, this is like convincing yourself of yourself moving on or somebody else moving on. Eight of Swords is lying to yourself. She is not looking at the truth. She's hiding. This is like a willingness to deflect the truth and look directly at the truth. The swords typically symbolize truth, right? And like honesty and words and intellect and like true thoughts and true feelings. She is ignoring all of that shit. Six of Swords, yet again, clarifying, but in reverse. This is not a sincere moving on. This is lying. Star reversed, you know, this is like, it's more to it. There's more to it than that. It's not so simple. You don't simply just move on from somebody, and you certainly don't just wish it into fruition. I think maybe that's what whomever I'm talking to, that's what they've been doing, is like that's what they think is going to work, is just convincing themselves, and wishing that it's true every time they say it. But it's bullshit. It's bullshit. This is so insincere now that I've gotten these cards, especially. I don't buy it for a second. So somebody's lying to themselves again. 5 of Swords. All right, Judgment reversed. Judgment Day. Why is Judgment Day delayed? Why can't we have our comeuppance? Is it that fear of taking responsibility that I was talking about earlier? With that Knight of Cups energy? Who is that, Gemini? Is that your ex-partner? Ex-friend? Somebody you haven't talked to in a long time? Somebody's avoiding Judgment Day or taking responsibility and letting karma rectify itself. Somebody is not looking at things clearly and being honest about it. And it's muddying up the work. It's muddying up the works. This is like not just about that person. They're thinking it's just about them. They're not realizing that their mental like gymnastics that they're doing, what they're doing, affects everything and everyone. It's energy, people. You can't control that your energy does or does not affect other people. It just absolutely does. So I feel like somebody's avoiding, maybe both of you are avoiding the Judgment Day. 4 of Swords reversed, 2 of Wands reversed, 7 of Pentacles reversed. It's given somebody some trouble sleeping. Honestly, it could be that simple, right? Like it could be that literal, looking at this card, that it's like things are not equaled out. Things are not karmically, like retribution has not been given at this point yet. Something unfair has not been justified or made right. And somebody's losing sleep over it. I don't know if it's the person that perpetrated or the person that it happened to, but justice has not been served, and it's bothering somebody. It's making them have a hard time moving on. So maybe this moving on is like they're ignoring the fact that Judgment Day hasn't come because they're trying so hard to move on, but they're having a hard time seeing past it. And it's pissing them off. I mean, it's just impatience. Having a really hard time and being really impatient about it, because breakups and healing over that shit take time. You can't just force your way out of a goddamn breakup pain. Those things are important and intense. I'm sorry, but like there's no difference between a breakup and someone in your life dying, except that it's somebody choosing to sever it and kill the relationship. I mean, it's legitimately the most painful thing I've personally ever experienced, and I've experienced a lot of shitty stuff. And this is just like, it's rough. It's really painful, and somebody is really impatient, and they're having a hard time moving on. And I think it has to do with this, like, something hasn't been corrected. Somebody should be apologizing or something here. I don't know who it is. Maybe you're sitting there waiting for your fucking apology from somebody, and you're like, what the fuck? That's the only way that this is gonna, like, not the only way, but like, I'm having a really hard time moving on, because it's hard to move on when you feel like you've been so taken for a fucking ride and nobody's acknowledging that or giving you the respect and the acknowledgement that you deserve. And it's really fucking hard. So I think it feels imbalanced right now and like karmically fucked up to somebody. I don't think it's this Knight of Cups person. I think it's the other person. 5 of Cups, so that could be both of you. It's the pain and sorrow card. And so, but I think that's on both counts. Just because somebody perpetrated you doesn't mean they're not also in pain. You know, maybe less, it's more difficult to empathize with people like that, but still, it's still important to acknowledge that pain is pain, right? So yeah, wow, 5 of Cups is definitely like the grief card, the sadness card, the missing things, focusing on the disappointment instead of looking behind you at the 2 cups that are available to you. So there's a little bit of wallowing energy here. 9 of Wands reversed, King of Wands, 9 of Cups. I think that you're, yeah, or not you. Like I said, I don't know who this is. I can't tell. It's not coming clear to me if it's you or the other person. But it's goddamn somebody. Yeah, I think that there's definitely the potential here to move forward and to look behind you. Because like I said, this guy is really focused on these spilled cups here, but he's ignoring the two behind him that are still upright. And in those two cups is like a lot more stability and like emotional fulfillment and satisfaction. But I think you're just fucking exhausted. That's what I think. Or whoever. Somebody's exhausted and somebody just they can't look at it anymore. They can't deal with it anymore. It's just too tiring. They need to regain their sense of self, and like it's just too painful. And I think they're regaining their sense of power, and that takes time. So, but that's hidden. It's almost like it's like you're both keeping that to yourselves. You're both hiding from each other that you're regaining the sense of power, except maybe this part, which is like, I'm over it, you know, that's obviously faking power, you know, which is just bullshit. And it's just like really I mean, it's pretty transparent, you know. If it's you, do you really think people can't see that that's bullshit? People are a lot smarter than you give them credit for, whoever I'm talking to. Yeah, so then there's the Eight of Cups, which is, to me, a little bit more of the sincere moving on than this card. So the Eight of Cups is like really walking away from the whole thing altogether, the positives and the negatives, really being ready to move on. I'm seeing it more like this was the person who wants to reach out that maybe made some mistakes. And then these two that I'm pulling now, these are the cards of the other person who the mistakes were happening to. I think the person who the mistakes were happening to, if it's you, I hope that it is, you're the one that's gonna have an easier time moving on because you're not lying to yourself about moving on. You're just naturally doing it. So you don't have to force anything, and you can be honest with yourself, right? You can be honest with yourself about like, hey man, I'm not over this. This still hurts me. I still think about it sometimes and it still sucks. And I wish it could be different, but it's not. And so I just have to like take the time and let myself heal without pressuring. You know, that Seven of Pentacles reverse is like pressure and stress and like getting mad at yourself for not getting over things more quickly. Queen of Cups. Page of Pentacles reversed. Queen of Wands reversed. So yeah, this person, if it is a lady, she's gonna be fine. And if it's you, you're gonna be fine. You know, this person who's genuinely really trying to move on by going through it instead of just skipping past it. There's a lot of like genuine emotional security here and like feeling more relaxed and feeling better about it. There's some plans in the works that this person is doing. They have a new like idea of some sort of new, like, you know, a new job or embarking on some sort of new career. Something new is going on and they want to build up again. I think this is a chick in this particular case because there's a lot of femme energy going on right now. And you know, and then back here we get the King of Wands. So I think that this person wants their King of Wands, or, you know, their partner, I would just say. And so they know they need to become a better partner in order to receive that partner once they meet them. I think that there's a lot of like genuine moving on here with this one, and then a lot of fake moving on here with this one. It's interesting. I don't know who's who, obviously. You can let me know in the comments if that helps, or if you want to let me know, because that would, you know, give me some context for how people are feeling. But yeah, there's like, those are all the energies behind this like uncertainty of whether or not reaching out is a good idea. There's like a heavy background here. This is not like a one night stand or like a light 2-month thing. This is like, there's a lot of feelings, and a lot of them are like both parties are trying to get past them in two completely different ways. you know, and I see more success with the honesty part. Obviously, I'm always gonna say that. I'm always gonna say that there's more success in honesty, even if it hurts more. It's more acute and it's easier to get over because you're actually healing. So, you know, there's two different styles here, and maybe that was the whole point of the breakup in the first place. It's very incompatible ways of dealing with things and styles. And, you know, these two people, also, if you look at them closely in succession, the way that they are here in the reading, they're both walking away from each other. You know, so like this person's having more of a struggle, this person's struggling too, but is being more honest about it and like accepting that it's difficult and not trying to ignore it with that Eight of Swords. Very different style, very different energy. So how can we sum things up? We get the Queen of Swords and the King of Pentacles reversed. One more.